Alrighty, we are just about ready as soon as this actually posts. Alright, we're posted. Alright, and well, let me do some lip care here. I have my Trader Joe's lip mask, but it is not in the room. And man, I put that on yesterday. Oh my god. It saved my lips. I don't know. It's like almost pure Vaseline or something. I don't know. It's a little bit kind of sticky and weird, but more of like a bedtime thing. But man, I mean, they were just painful. I guess I had had something that was too salty or whatever. But they have different flavors of it now, because I got one of them, and actually the next one I got one on a whim, and then I saw the other flavor. I was like, ooh, that would be good too. It's like a cinnamon bun limited edition flavor, and then this one is the regular vanilla one. So both are quite good. All right, so today this is another Sneaky Floof comic, and this time he's going to be dressed up as fruit, different fruits. I could probably I'm going to keep these as independent. Are you in a group? Nope, you're not in a group. Well, now we're going to make you in a group, and we're going to center you. I think I'm going to take, what did I have? Strawberry, orange. Pile of grapes. And then a lemon. Table in the background here with one. And they're going to be debating. These up here. They're debating on the other item. Maybe I'll have a little one here talking about, he's like, look at this one. This one's debating about the lemon. This one's debating about the strawberry. And meanwhile, The sneaky floof is up here. And I think I'll go ahead and drop all of this down. Whoops. All right, there we go, 30%. Goodness. Save. And get a drink of water. I might need a lozenge or something here. All right, here we go. Let's do. This needs to be centered. And I'm going to give this a little bit more room. I don't want to change figure out to spot. Can you spot which one? Let me just leave it figure out. Now, technically, wait a minute. Can I make a convincing argument for the items that the floof is not dressed as? Like, if they're arguing that, okay, so an orange, a lemon, an apple contain the seeds, the strawberry and the grape, could have them arguing over the strawberry and the grape. On the strawberry, the little, well, wait a minute. They're all fruits, but they're different kinds of fruits. The grapes, the seed is inside the grape. The strawberry, these are grown on trees. These are grown, I mean, this is a vine plant. This is a, you can't really say it's not really a vine plant, but they are long. I think they're going to have to be arguing over the strawberry or the grape. I need to look at my other sneaky floof comment. I just reposted it, so let me go to my reposts. Current week repost, sneaky floof. Can you spot the difference? Okay, one of these items does not belong. Can you spot the difference? Okay, that's what I did. Can you figure out which one? One of these items does not belong. Can you spot the difference? Oh. So I was getting, speaking of sneaky floofs, well, sneaky and clever floofs, I got the Clever Floof t-shirt added to the website finally. And oh, I want to show, I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to do this real quick. Bring it up here. What do I want to do? Do I want to go into this? Yes, I do, because that'll probably make it easier. All right, let me just grab. There we go. And I need to figure out. All right, so this is one that I want to. I actually kind of like that double up. Let me get a mock-up. Download mock-ups. I just want to see my mock-up. Basic. Yes, collage ghost. Oh, good. Back, front. I don't need the left. I don't need the right. I do need front and back. I do need JPEGs because those are smaller. And let's do that. And let's, I guess I'll do that. And let's do that. Okay. La 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 la. All right, generate mockups, pretty please. I should have just gone into edit because then I could see it as the double up, and then I could just copy and paste it over, which would have been easier and quicker. But that's okay. We're gonna do this the long way. Maybe not at all, because this is taking its sweet time. On my preview on YouTube, I'm just looking at the screen confused. What percentage of my stream is me looking up confused? Here we go. Download mockups. Thank you. Thank y'all. Now that I have that, let's close this. Let's edit this so I can wait another ridiculous amount of time for this to pop up. Mockups. Let me see my mockups. You are not going to let me see anything other than the... All right, well, I wanted to get the... Fine. Just leave this tab. Did I truly not save that? Well, all right. I thought I saved a new cup mock-up, but I actually did not, which is not good. I wanted to show you. All right, let's close this tab. Let's open this. Products. Should have done this to start. All right, leaf. So this is that one. So I changed Clever Floof on the, it's called Leaf Green. I really like it. I think it picks up the kind of Jurassic Park vibe that I'm trying to do here. And then let me go to downloads and I'll show you this one. Boop and a boop and a copy it. Oh God, kids. I just want to copy. Stop. window's just being obnoxious. Where is my paste option? Let me paste, pretty please. There we go. All right, so back, front and back. And front and back. Nope. Nope. Apparently front and back. I don't have purple front and back. Ah, purple front and back. All right. So this is a new one that I'm waiting for a mock-up. Not a mock-up, a sample. So I didn't get a sample of the white. I did, really. So it likes to pull whatever, interesting. So this is the correct tag. This is the not correct tag. They grabbed a different tag for every version, so I gotta double check that these tag versions are correct on the print files. But I wanted to do a never give up, never surrender design, and I chose 3 different colors that you can pick from. Regular white, I did this, they call it Team Purple, and this was a lighter purple, and I felt it showed up better there. But on the front, we've got the little floof with the star over your heart, and then Never Give Up, Never Surrender on the back. And this is the dark heather slate version, and then the white version. This cracks me up right here. I don't know why, because I went in there and I set all of these to be the same. So I just need to double check on the print files. But yeah, so those samples are coming, and I'm pretty certain it will be fine. And then I've got the Clever Floof. That's already live because I know that print is perfect. I did it and I just changed the base color of the shirt. I've actually been testing this design out for I think 2 or 3 years. And yeah, this is solid, rock solid. It was on a heather kind of gray. I didn't feel like it, I felt like there was just a little bit of, the darkness of the shirt just made this kind of look a little bit weird. So I changed it from that color to the green, and I think that'll be nice. And then I also made a cup version, mug version of this. And then the, let me see, I also did, I don't think I brought it out. I have a Cozy Town, I Floof Around in Cozy Town t-shirt that I also did a sample of. I've also been wearing that, but just crap out of it. It's actually one of my favorite workout shirts. All of these are. The Clever Floof is one of my favorites. This base is really nice. I really especially like the heather. It's 58, I think it's 58% cotton and the rest poly. I guess 42%. Actually, no, it's there's some elastane in it, I think. But no, it's only just 2. It's cotton poly, and most of it is cotton. Well, slightly over half is cotton. Oh, you can actually see it here. It looks like 52-48. So it's really nice and soft. I like it, but I also love the base. So the original, it's like these two are switched. The original Clever Floof was on this, but a little bit more gray, less blue, and a little darker, which didn't contrast well with this. So, and the original Floof Around in Cozy Town is on a sage version of this, which is 100% cotton. And that one's another one of my favorite shirts. The Heathers, I feel wear a little bit more fitted, even though it's technically the same t-shirt base, than the full cotton. So just an interesting little difference. Technically they're cut the same, but I guess with how the fabric stretches and behaves, it's just a little bit different. On a little bit. I want to have you all the same size, roughly. All right, so all of those are good. Have those off to the side. So I got that on the website. I also got the, oops, the big stretch. Oh, have you forgiven me, my lady? Have you forgiven me? She says maybe. Oh no. All right. So this is the sticker sheet that is currently in production. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I just nudged things a little bit, and they're looking good. I've got the 4 other stickers in there as well that are 3x3s. BRB for just a second. I want to turn off my heater and turn on my regular. And I think I've toastified my room just enough. And now my nose itches. All right. There we go. All right, we back. All right, here we go. I don't think I mentioned this, but I watched Running Man this past weekend. And if you're not familiar with that, it's a remake of a 80s movie featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger. The premise is it's like a dystopian future, and there's basically two societies. There's the elite, and then there is pretty much everybody else, and they're all scraping to get by. And one way that they can really kind of get themselves out of poverty is by participating in these game shows. And one game show is called The Running Man, and the premise of that one is the contestants have to survive. In the original movie, it was just a day, I believe, but in the remake, it's 30 days. They have to survive 30 days while they're being hunted, not only by these, like this elite hunter force that's part of the game, but also by society at large, because they enlist the audience to help spot where these runners are and give tips to their hunting teams. So if you don't survive, you don't win. But if you do, you win just massive amounts of wealth. So the new version, Glenn Powell is the main guy, and his daughter is incredibly sick. He just got fired, I think, from the last job that he had, or I say the last job because his character has been, can't remember why, but he's essentially been blacklisted from all the employment agencies. So he is literally, at the end of his rope there. He enlists in the Running Man, and I thought it was pretty good. It was quite entertaining, but what really, I need to do that. There we go. Oops, I said group, please. Then no, I would like you to group. Gee, are you a group now? Why aren't you grouping? You're already in a group. God bless. All right. I'm gonna cut this we're going to get out of this group. We're going to paste in front. I'm going to make sure these two guys are grouped, and then I'm going to center you. There we go. All right. So the thing that kind of stuck with me that I was thinking about a lot is that there's a point in the movie where the network that is running the game show, they pretty much, they start using AI to change what characters are saying and what they're doing to control the, you know, opinion of the audience and to cover up things that they're trying to reveal that the network is doing. And it just struck me because, like, you know, we can't do it in the, you know, number of seconds. You can't generate that, you know, video in, you know, less than a minute right now, but we're probably going to be at that point very soon where AI can make very convincing, realistic video that you wouldn't know isn't real very quickly, very soon, probably within the next couple of years. Because, I mean, you know, last year I could spot it very easily. This year, however, on the animal videos, I can spot it the way the fur moves. And it just, there's something about it. There's like a glaze that is just, I don't want to say it's uncanny valley, but it's just something that says it's not right, that it's not real. I don't know if it's also a quality to the eyes of the subject animals. I guess I can spot it mostly there. Hey Ariana, hey Sharon, welcome to the stream. Happy Thursday to you too. Oh, I gotta renew. There we go. It's back on. Oh, Bean Stretch! Oh, you got some beans too. Are we gonna do air biscuits? You gonna give him some air biscuits? No? Okay. She says this is all you get. I was just talking about, I watched The Running Man, which is the remake of the Arnie movie from the 80s. I don't remember if it was early 80s or late 80s, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good, but I was remarking on how the AI in the, well, they used, basically they generated video to control the audience and the viewers and cover up things that the characters, because part of the plot is that the Running Man has to record himself and submit these videos to the network once a day for 10 minutes a day. He cannot miss it. If he does, he or she forfeits all their winnings, and they're still hunted. So you have to get those videos in. And so throughout the movie, he starts to uncover things and he tries to communicate that to the audience through these videos. The network uses AI to change what he says. And just like, wow. And they did it also nearly in real time. And it just struck me that we're pretty close to that. We're alarmingly close to being able to do that. All right. It's really good. You know, I initially didn't, you know, really have much interest in watching it because I heard a review that was like, oh, it's bloated. It doesn't need, you know, it's far too long. And I, you know, as I was watching it, I usually when a movie is, oh my God, what is she doing? Oh, it's toe cleaning time. Usually when a movie is bloated, I get bored and I feel the bloat because it loses my attention and I'm just like, okay, what can I do while I'm waiting for this movie to finish? But I really didn't feel that with this one. It kept my interest and attention the whole time. But I'm wondering if maybe you're a fan of the original, and because the big difference is that the character has to survive, I think, 1 day versus 30 days. So I think that probably is a much more concise script and plan of action. And I think that's probably the difference, but I didn't think it was that bad. Clean toe beans, yes. Oh, we're getting some water now. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was quite entertaining, and I like Glenn Powell too. He you can tell he really had fun with the role, and the other players were pretty good too. Let me see. What's his name? Josh Brolin is kind of like the big bad. He's the network executive that's kind of running the show. You've got a smaller appearance by William H. Macy. I always like him. Let's see who else was in it. Michael Cera, something like that. He was like in Juno, and he had like a big string of movies in the late aughts, early 2010. Michael Cera, kind of looks like a dork. He was in it. He played a pretty good character. Oh, and a surprise appearance by Kerrigan from Casper. I recognized her voice, and I could not put my finger on where I recognized her from. And so I started looking up, because she plays like the dorky character's mother. Or grandmother, maybe. At any rate, I recognize the voice. It's that grating, very rough voice. And I finally looked it up, and I was like, oh my God, she's the villain from Casper. And I hadn't seen her in anything for years. But I kept on thinking it's not Phyllis Diller, but it's similar, because Phyllis Diller kind of had a rough voice, but a very distinctive one as well. And she definitely does. Kind of like... oh God, what's her face? She played Jessica Rabbit. She was the uncredited voice of Jessica Rabbit. She was also Romancing the Stone. How can I remember her name? Let me just look up Romancing the Stone. There we go. What's your name? Kathleen Turner. There we go. What's your name? Ezekiel. Yes, Kathleen Turner, yes. Thank you, Sharon. All right, let's start drawing. All right, so this one is a continuation of Sneaky Floof. And this time the Floof is dressing up as a fruit. Floof is going to be an apple. And the other floofs are going to be debating that the item that does not belong is, of course, not the floof in the apple, but probably the grapes and the strawberry. So I saw that movie this weekend. I think it was Friday I saw that one. And then, what was it, like maybe Monday night? I did it over the process of 2 days because it's a pretty long movie, but I started Mortal Engines. And I kind of enjoyed that one too. I looked up, there seems to be, there's a big fan following of the books, and I really liked the premise that in the dystopian, future, the cities are now on treads. They're called traction cities, and they kind of roam around consuming other small cities for resources. So that's the kind of setting. I thought that was a really interesting bit of world building. And I can understand how, given the depths of the books, and that it would, how do I say it? Kind of felt like there was a little bit, like the characters were a little more cardboard than they should have been in the movie. I think, I don't know, I wish they would have developed the Tom character and the Hester character a little bit more. I mean, she had the most development by far. Tom was just kind of tagging along a little bit, I felt, but I enjoyed it. The effects were pretty outstanding, certainly. So we've got the strawberry here, and I'm gonna probably go ahead and layer in some shadowing. Mortal Engines, that I was thinking, I'm getting it mixed up with, what is the, what's her name? Holly Black, something Instruments. I haven't read that series, but I know she was really popular, and those books were popular for a hot minute, but that one's like, what I remember of the synopsis is it's some sort of an alternate dimension, realities existing in the same time. Or I could be totally confusing that with another book series. Claire. Okay, yes. Claire. Cassandra Clare, I think that's right. Can't remember her first name. Yeah, no, wait. No, now I'm mixing them together. Oh no. Because there's another one that's like a vampire one. I think the vampire one is Holly Black. I didn't, well, did I read that? I think I did. Maybe I read the first one. Now I'm getting the Vampire Academy thing mixed up with Vampire Knight, which is manga. And then there's another one that's, oh god. It's not Stone and Bone, and it's not Skin and Bone, but the cover is like a mask. I got the book. This was actually funny. I got the book on sale. I went to like the entire town had a garage sale weekend in conjunction with, I think it was like a popcorn or strawberry festival in Indiana. I went there with my mom and my sister. And the library was, of course, getting rid of some of their old books. And this one, they had gotten it, Smoke and Bone. Smoke and Bone? They had gotten it, they read it, and it was too risque, and they got rid of it on the shelf, and I got it for $1. Smoke and Bone? I think it was Smoke and Bone. That one was interesting, and I remember reading it and being really engrossed, and then I just kind of lost interest at one point. And I'm not sure if it was I finished that one and lost interest for the next ones. I can't quite remember. Holly Black was fair. Ooh. I didn't read those either. But I remember those names. I remember the authors. Yeah, okay. Because Smoke and Bone had like 3 or 4, and it was really great to start, and then I just, for some reason, I don't... Did I fall into that? Because it's when authors jump around, I almost every single time they lose me, because I really don't like that method of writing where you write, you take the reader up to a crescendo, you basically leave them on a cliffhanger and then jump to another set of characters. That rarely works for me. I'm always, like, ugh, this again. And I switch and I basically jump ahead to the chapter where it picks back up on the thread so I can see what happens, and then I go back and read forward. I hate that when authors do it. The only one I don't think that bothered me that much was Melanie Ron, because she does that in several of her books, but she does it in a way that is more natural and not really like leading you up to a cliffhanger, dropping you and just making you wait to figure out what happens to these characters. Let's go pick up on this other set of characters over here in La La Land. She does it pretty well. That's mostly, she does like science fiction fantasy stuff. One of my favorite series of hers is the Dragon Prince books, but honestly, I haven't read much beyond, The problem with Melanie Ron is she likes to kill her main characters, and I don't like it when my favorite characters die. So if you read Melanie Ron books, stop at book 1, because usually your favorite person is going to eventually come to a horrible death. So that's what I have to say about her. And that happened in several series that I've read of hers. Dragon Prince, yes. And what's the one? Oh. It's the one where I have the book. I can picture the front cover. Melanie Exiles, that series. She does that in that one too. The Ruins of Ambray. Yeah. What is she doing now, I wonder? I did read the entire Ambry series. But yeah, I've reread Dragon Prince so many times, and the others just, yeah. But I love the books, but if you like any of her characters and get attached to them, I recommend stopping at book 1. All right, let's make an orange. Yes, they do. They build these characters, and she builds characters so well. And you love them, and then just that she was the author that made me wary and made me, I first consider the genre because young adult, like the tweens. The teens, they'll kill people. Probably not as, tweens doesn't usually, at least in my experience, I have not, let me see. I'm sure I'll come up with something that it did, an author did do that, but I first consider the genre before I start letting myself fall in love with a character. And usually if it's, young adult or tween, well, these days the YA fantasy, romantasy, those get a little bit more, those are a little bit more towards regular fantasy, and that they will kill characters. But it's just, I'm like, okay, I can trust this one. She's not going to kill this person. It's just going to be a very light plot twist, maybe. But yeah, so Melanie Ron made me wary. Maybe, perhaps, do not trust the authors. Who else did that? I feel like there are other authors that killed some darlings that were particularly painful. I don't want to say C.S. Friedman did that, but You can kind of tell when an author is in love with a character, especially a villain. C.S. Friedman was that way in the oh God, what was that name? The Gerald Tarrant. I mean, that was her baby. So she put him through some stuff, a lot of stuff. But did he die? No, I don't think he did. The Deathgate. No, that's Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. They put their darling through stuff in that one too. What was it? The Blackgate cycle or something like that? But found that you can trust Anne McCaffrey. She generally doesn't. I say generally. You can usually trust Anne McCaffrey. Although it was interesting because there was one series of hers that I loved, but you kind of have to stop at the first 3. You tear through book 1. It's one where it's another science fiction fantasy, but essentially aliens invade on Earth and capture humans, and then they're kind of distributed across the universe to seed new planets. So like if the humans land on the planet and they can survive, they come back to, colonize the planet or whatever. So essentially guinea pigs. And this one was written over the course of, I believe, decades. Like she started the first one, I want to say it was in the 80s or maybe it was before the 80s. And then she came back later to write some of the other books, and some of the details and characters get switched around. And because I guess she didn't remember them right, but if you're reading them in sequence, you're like, well, wait a minute, this isn't right. This person didn't do that. Or, it was interesting. That's the first time I've ever seen that in a series. And I wonder for some of these huge, long-running series if that happens. Like, how do they keep track? Like, who was it? Was it Robert Jordan? Wheel of Time? Was it Wheel of Time? That has like 1 million volumes in it. How do you keep all those details straight? And I mean, even like before you could have a computer and a database out, you would have to track it, essentially by hand. How do you keep those details straight? What was that one? I love that one. I want to read that again because it was really good. Let me see. What one was it? And Lady McCaffrey. Her Corna books are some of my favorites too. And I really credit her with like the seed of my interest in reading, because I remember very clearly being in the library and they had a sort of like an end cap display, and they had all of the Dragon Song, Dragon Singer, Dragon Drums. They had all of the Anne McCaffrey books there, and I was just enchanted by the cover of Dragon Song. And so I picked it up and started reading it, and then that was it. I was suddenly a voracious reader of fantasy novels, and she had a lot of really good series. Let me see. What one? It was like a 3-book, technically 5 books, but the 4th and the 5th book are just kind of not that good. And I remember somebody told me to stop reading at book 3 or something. like, just stop reading there. I'm like, why? I figured out why. Because, of course, why would you listen? But I love this series. Okay, let's just go to Amazon and see all your books. Yes, Freedom, the Katani sequence. Okay, so yeah, I think, is it stopping at, I think it's not reading the last book on the let's see, what's the first one? Freedom's Landing, Freedom's Choice, Freedom's Challenge, I think, forget the Freedom's Ransom, the last one. I'm trying to remember, because definitely book 1 and 2 were excellent. And I want to say Freedom's Challenge I've read less, but it's still good. But I get the events of 1 and 2 kind of blended together, and I have to reread it to remember what's going on and differentiate it. The Rowan was good, but again, that's another one where I read not for the reason that I stated for Melanie Ron, but I just like the Rowan, the first one, far better. And I just reread that one, and I'm fine to reread that one. Let me see. I think I read all the Racornas, but again, I just go back to the first one and reread that one. She's generally safe. Alright, there is my orange. And let's get to... I should probably group these guys. Whoops. Grab those two. Group. And let's draw the apple floof. Apple floof. Oh, that reminds me that, because I kind of, I was talking about the preteen tween books and how they're kind of, plot-wise and character-wise pretty safe from tragedy. I remember I don't remember what I was reading before it, but I was like, I'm just done with all of the tragedy and turmoil in whatever series that I was reading. And so I found the Emily Winsnap books. Those are so cute. It was, if I remember right, the main character, she finds out that she's part mermaid. And it was just so nice to, I don't want to call it bland because it wasn't bland, but it's kind of like watching one of your favorite movies when you were a kid that didn't have like an Artex never-ending story level tragedy or sadness in it. It was just a good show that you enjoyed front to back. Not too much turmoil, not too much tragedy, but just nice. And yeah, that was kind of just what the doctor orders. I was so glad that I found that. And I just stumbled upon it when I was looking at covers in the bookstore. But that was a really cute one. And I also remember being prepared, thinking like, oh, this there's no way it's going to be this easy and simple and clean an ending. And no, it was no tragedy, just a little bit of drama, but everybody's okay. I've got a couple of them like that. George something George. Jessica Day George. She's a good one too. She did the Dragon Slippers. And that one is such a good one. I've reread that one so many times. The plot of that one is main character. There's superstitions that, oh God, I can't remember what the superstition was. Basically, her family's like, go to the dragons. They basically sacrifice her. They plop her down in front of the dragon's cave. And she befriends the dragon because the dragon's like, LOL, what do you mean? We don't eat people. We collect, stained glass windows and random trinkets and shoes, and that's what we collect. We don't care about humans. And so she befriends this dragon, and this dragon happens to, well, she doesn't befriend that one. She does something, I forget what it is, but basically they strike a bargain, and she gets to pick something from his hoard, and she picks this pair of shoes, which turns out to be a very disastrous pick for the dragons. But being as they are honorable creatures, the dragon upholds his end of the deal. She picks the slippers and goes about her way. And then, of course, the events of the novel happen. That one was such a good one. I would recommend that if you like dragon books that aren't too... I mean, there is some... I wouldn't say that there's a lot of... I mean, there's, drama. There's plot. But it's not like a heart-wrenching tragedy. You're safe. You can just enjoy the book. All right, so we've got to make this apple floof. Gosh, now I want to read Dragon Slippers again. I'll put his ears here. Hey Dee, welcome to the stream. Been working on a few things? Nice. Oops. Boop. I think I'm gonna have to... I wanted to originally put the floof's paws over here, but I think his little footers, I mean, they have to be over here. And his ears probably need to be around here. I mean, I could put the paws up here, like I originally thought. He could be a big floof. It's like this, maybe. No, even then, he'd still be... The paws would still be maybe here. Alright, so let's edit this to be where the paws could possibly be. Maybe I'll bring them down a little bit. There's a little piece sticking out here. So you can do stuff and still access snacks. And I'm going to gonna offset his little footers down here. There we go. Stem, let's be in front. Do that. Do I want to have the little edge like he's kind of I don't know. I'll just have his little. No. No way I'll be discovered. No, I will know. No one's gonna know. Here we go. All right. I'm gonna move some sketchy stuff out. Grab and move that over. Move this over. All right, here we go. Let's draw some grapes and a lemon, and then I do the debate. I do need to save. I can't wait to draw this guy that's just, he's standing on his business. He's just making his argument. And this other one's just like, I don't know. And this one's like, well, but what about this? He's just like, this is what doesn't belong. This one right here. I always struggle drawing grapes. Okay. Let's start out with I'll just draw a silhouette maybe. No. We've gotta go. Sometimes I can get my collarbones to pop, and it's really weird. I think it has something to do because I broke this one. I think I've told this story before. Yeah, you can feel it. So, when I don't remember what, I think I was in school, so it was maybe first grade or kindergarten, somewhere around there. I went to play at neighbor's house and they had this awesome slide. It was a big, tall slide, but it was made of metal. And so I got up there and I was wearing shorts, and of course this was in the mid-afternoon, and I sit down to go on the slide and I burned my butt. And in my brilliance, I leapt off the slide because, of course I'm burning my butt. So, you got to do something. And I broke my collarbone, and I can still feel the dent of where the bone's mended. But I wonder if that has something to do with it, because it seems like it always pops over there. That's the brilliant story of how I broke my first bone. I think that's the only bone I've ever broken. Although I kind of suspect I may have done maybe a fracture in my toes, because, man, there was a time where I just did not have some toe that was black and blue or purple, because I'm so clumsy. I would kick things and I would not see something and just, hyperextend it or whatever. I'm guessing I may have broken a toe, but there's really not much you can do for a broken toe. I think I might leave those not detailed, but I'll come up here and put like the vine, the stem here. Let's bring that over here. Do some little grape leaves maybe? I kind of want to do something. I feel like this grape leaf is really grape leafing. Oh, very lucky, Ariana. Very lucky. And may you never. There was one time where I should have broken something more than I did, but another big bonehead move when I was little. I was riding my bike, and I think I was just having a dramatic moment because the wind was rushing by, and so I closed my eyes so I could just feel the wind on my face. And the next thing I remember is I'm waking up on the couch, and apparently I drove my bike up on the sidewalk, flipped it over, and was out. My sister carries me back, and she insists I was being really dramatic and screaming and crying, and I don't remember that. But at that point in time, they had not repaved the street that we lived on, so it was that pebble, like concrete that has all the pebbles in it. And I somehow got out of that with just like this was bloody. This was it. But I should have been like trashed, but I wasn't for whatever reason. I made it out of that. But yeah, drove it up, flipped the bike, was out for a while, and then but yeah, it was just like, I think here and maybe a little bit over here. I don't even have any scarring from that, so that was super lucky. And also super stupid. Alright, so that's a nice, let's do a sparkly. I want to do sparkly grapes because they just look so good. Let's do a little bit of shading here. I think I need to because these are like, we need to do a little bit more shadowing here because these grapes are all kind of clumping together, and if I don't draw the outline, I should draw a little shadow to show them kind of coming together. I think that this needs to be too. I'm just going to copy and paste these grapes because I'm spending so much time on them. And they're looking pretty. So, alright. Now we draw a lemon. Let's see here. We need to, thinking of the lemons that were on my tree. I want to say that my harvest was, I didn't think that I had gotten as many as the previous year, but I think I did, even though like half the tree, it was just on the bottom. And I think the top didn't get as many because, well, there are a couple of trimmings, but for some reason, I mean, that tree was struck with aphids a little bit, in those like silver wormy things that get in the leaves, but I looked them up and they don't really harm it much, so I didn't really go to town on that one trying to get rid of stuff. But he wasn't as covered in aphids as like my hibiscus were. Let's see, I kind of want to do like a little bit of a stem here, and then maybe just a pretty leaf here, because I did leave some leaves on them. These were pretty, but they had so much juice. They were just incredible this year. I want to say I maybe I counted the first couple of times I harvested, and I think I took off. There were 2 times that I picked like 12 of them and gave them to friends. So that was at least 24, and that was before my main harvest where I was harvesting like at least 30 or 40. I want to say maybe I got 60 to 70 lemons out of it this year. But I did not count. And I know last year I did count, and I got like, say 70 or so on that one. I'm going to make this leaf useful. There we go. And we're going to connect all these guys together. Bring that leaf over here. Maybe I'll have him kind of attached in the front. And let's edit this little guy because he's just not quite the angle I want him to be. But one thing I love about this tree is it's so fragrant, and the poor thing is confused as heck right now. It's just bursting with blossoms because we had a cold and then a warm. I would call them snaps because they were pretty close together and pretty, brief in each of them, but the warm snap was a little longer. And that was just before this last cold storm that we had blow through, bursting with blossoms. And I hope some of them survived. But a lot of them had already set, so you could already see little lemons all over it. Oh, there goes my control key again. Always snapping off. You're not broken. I think I'm gonna make this one a little bit more. Put a little. That's one thing on the Meyer lemon, it has thorns. You gotta be really careful. And they are long. They're like that long. There we go. Pretty little lemon. Oh, I need to make him maybe a little smaller. There we go. So we've got an orange, we've got the apple floof, we've got a strawberry, we've got a group of grapes. I should probably put little sparkles around everything. Let's go ahead and sparkle everything else up too. And I'll select those later. Just draw my little thing around them. Oh. Is everything all right? Of course. Yes, I was just talking about my lemon tree. He's just a little bit confused because we got a lot of unseasonably warm weather and then we got cold weather. So he's got all of these blossoms. And there's a point where it's like, are there even, you know, are the bees awake to pollinate? But they're there. They're buzzing all around. Grab that. Paste it in the back. Go ahead and erase what's in front. There we go. And let's add sparklies to our strawberry. And I can erase this line too. Need to bring this down a little bit. All right, so everything has sparklies. Draw the debate, the great debate. kind of wish I had done this without the line in the back, but I kind of need it because I have to set this up in the final frame that all of these guys are kind of setting on. Like, I was thinking either a shelf or a low table, but maybe they're shelves and they've taken them down off the shelf to debate which belongs and which doesn't. Right? All right. Yeah, I want to dive right in and draw this one, but I'm gonna be good, and I'm gonna draw the background first and the table. Oops. Oh. I might have to bring this down a little bit lower. Do I want to put this like it's a display, like on a shelf? I could do that instead of making it a table. I don't have to make it. In that case, I'd have to have 2 shelves, and then I'll have, maybe they have a strawberry right here, and they're the other items, and this one's pointing at this one, and then this one, or no, the grapes will be here, strawberry will be down here, and this floof is arguing, and this one is arguing for this one, and this one is just like, I don't know, maybe. And then I have, yeah, I think that'll be okay. So I'll just make it a little floating shelf, perhaps. I like that edge, but it needs to be a little bit less curvy, just to straighten that out a little bit. Let me make my point size smaller here. There we go. I think that'll suffice. Maybe not. Bring that down straight. Now I can erase this. I think I can do. Reflect. There we go. This about the same? Yeah. That'll do. Go. Right. So I have shelf number 1. Just need to make that a little bit of a smoother feely. There we go, sort of. Right. And this one, I think, can stay as it is because just do this. we're going to have other items here. They're going to be blocking the view. I'll make this just filled in. All right. I don't think I really need that. Just gonna move this up. Nope, 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 nope. I didn't want to make it smaller, just wanted to move it up. Go. And these guys are going to be blocking that, so I'm going to go ahead and group this whole thing. Group this whole thing. Here, go. Just going to see a little bit because eye level is about not there. Here, so you can see that a little bit. And we need to make ground level. So I need to group things. I need to make this not quite so long. There we go. Now group. A little too big, and he also needs to be sitting a little bit down, so we're gonna draw him down like this. So quarters are gonna be like this. I did that so it's kind of an angle, and then the leaf is on the right. And did I add any? Yes, there's a little bite. Oh. Just like I did it. I'm fooling him. He's giggling and laughing because they're just not getting it. He's truly a sneaky floof. Alright, so we need to have the orange and the lemon. And I need to move him over just a little bit because I need room for those other two guys here. Actually draw the leaf. It's not quite as... Let's redraw this. Alright, I'm going to group this lemon now, and I might have to make them all smaller to fit on this shelf. And then my orange is going to be here. Come on, a little bit smaller. So nice. A little bit stiff there. Alright, so I've got, and we were whoop whoop. Whoop, whoop. A little smaller. This does not need to be that big. So apple and orange are about the same size. And I'm going to copy and paste grapes. I did such a good job with grapes. Not. Let me draw these. I think, well, I'll erase. Let's see, are we about a little bit larger than lemon, but not that much? There we go. Grapes are going to sit over here, and I'll just erase the bottom of them. I'm going to run an extra group of grapes over there in case I mess these up. Now we're going to cut. And then we're going to paste some grapes are on the shelf. And I'm going to have the strawberry, the big strawberry, down here. Guys, it's clearly this one. You just need to listen to me. It's this one. I have a convincing argument for this over here. Oops. Fruit. There we go. Yeah, this strawberry, I need to... That reminds me, it's strawberry season here. I follow, it's like early in the year. I follow one of the berry farms here on Instagram, and they're posting, oh gosh, it was like one of the early weeks in January. They had a harvest, and they had posted, I think it was Thursday, and they said they were going to be open Saturday, and by like Saturday afternoon, they're like, the berries are gone, guys. We had like, gosh, I want to say it was 400 pounds of berries that they had, people had come and picked. And that reminds me, I haven't seen another harvest update. I did kind of a group here, a middle, and then a down. Okay, so I need to do... What did I do? 3, 1, and 2. So let's... That's my 2. I don't feel like that's the right angle for that leaf though, because it's sitting on the ground. The leaves are going to be kind of pulled down. Oops. No. That's a little better. You. That'd be quicker than that, I know, right? If you want those strawberries, you need to be on deck when the sun rises. Oh, that looks like a wretched strawberry. Come on. How are these seeds gonna look? So this, let's draw just a sort of... There we go. There we go. All right. Now I think I can get my seeds on the right. I don't want to have them so uniform it looks weird. All right, let's see how that did. My berry look a little bit more berry-like. Let's do some little seed bumps here. All right. Still don't like this guy. There we go. That's better. All right. Strawberry is here. All right. So now I can do my favorite part, the floofs arguing over which belongs and which doesn't. Who's are gonna have a hard time telling? I know. How are they gonna tell? How is anybody gonna tell? Frustrating how all the work feel like it leads to nowhere. Oh, what are you talking about? All right, here we go. We gotta have this floof making the big argument. He's establishing his case for the strawberry. It's just like, look, it's a strawberry. It is. There's a cast. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know if your instincts. I'm gonna group the skeptical floof over here. Two separate groups so I can see them. He's in his thinking pose. I gotta do this again. Move this over here. Angle it. This one's just like, how can you not agree with me that it is clearly the strawberry? I'm gonna have this one pointing up and it's like, hey guys, I think there's something going on up there. Let's group this guy. Okay, guys. Get his gesture down. That's not quite right. He's like, guys? Hey, guys. He's like, no, that's a little bit wider. All right. Move this out. All right. What did I? Okay, that was just a. So he could be looking at the grapes. He could be noticing that the apple is giggling. These guys are engrossed in the argument about how the strawberry is the thing. I think I can fit that all on one. I may move this guy back here like he's on the shelf and he's just noticing, but I don't know how he would notice the apple giggling from beneath the shelf. So I might have to adjust that a little bit, and I might have to shift these guys as well. All right. So that is the Great Debate line art done. So let me just zoom in. I'll hide this. Zoom in on this. So the Great Debate. One of these items does not belong. Can you spot the difference? So we've got a strawberry. This will be an orange. This is a floop apple. And we have grapes and a lemon. And then I have the Great Debate happening over here. They've totally missed the fact that there is a floof disguised as an apple while they're arguing about the strawberry. Move that down a little bit more so I have more room for my call to action. I like how this one is so focused on the arguments this one is making. All right. That'll be it for me today. I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down here. Let me go to my ending page. Where is that? Over there. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing this line art come together. And let's see there. Okay, yeah. The final version will be live tomorrow morning. New comics are right now every Friday. I'm trying to get back to the Tuesday, Friday. Hopefully we'll get that going again. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I will be back on Tuesday, and I probably will be doing animation then. So that is exciting. I've been kind of playing around in Dreams too, and getting really used to the interface there. So I've got to get that reflector set up right, but hopefully I can bring that back and not have too much difficulty getting that set up. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, Sharon, Ariana, Dee, all of my lurkers. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday and a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.